We had a poll question during the week about LeBron James and when you would like to see him return with the Lakers. And so this was during the first game with the Dallas Mavericks. So please, Mike, if you can show the poll. So as you can see, this was me asking not during the second game, not even after the second loss against the Mavericks. This was during the first game that I asked, how soon would you like to see LeBron? And people actually said 24% said next game. A lot of people made the sensible choice and chose early May, which was 54%, and then 17 said, playoffs. So
I think I was part of that 17%, but maybe. I don't know. No, I mean, early May, yeah. I mean, like I said, my thing was always like just give it enough time. That's why I kind of feel like, I don't know, conspiracy mark kicking in. Like, I just felt like this is kind of like strategically planned. LeBron was, how bad teams look when they rest their players?
Awful.
Yeah, perfect example. Find it. Oh, perfect. Oh, no, LeBron's knee hurt. Oh, no. Or I forgot what it even was at this point.
It was his ankle.
It was ankle. Same thing. Just on the lower part of the body. I'll say leg, but anyway. So I just kind of felt like this was, like, oh, you know what? Your toenail doesn't look too good, too. I think you need 2 weeks on that, too. Like, maybe it was one of those scenarios, but hey, I want well-rested LeBron and AD. That's what I want.
Yeah, and look, okay, so I think hopefully this is not what the Lakers are thinking, but I mean, there's more than 8 games left, right?
Which is
how
crazy.
many times or how many games did they play when they entered the bubble before they went to the postseason? 8 games.
Oh, what?
So I'm thinking maybe the Lakers, because this is what the final 8 games look like.
There we go.
And 8 happens to be the number that Kobe Bryant wore, and it's retired in the Rafters.
Chemtrails! What? Oh, sorry.
And they're making the Fox gate.
Did not mean to yell that loud.
So this is what the month of May looks like for the Lakers.
Let's hear it.
Raptors versus the Lakers. That should be an easy one. Nuggets versus the Lakers.
W.
Lakers versus Clippers.
W. Kidding.
Lakers versus Trailblazers. Suns versus Lakers. Knicks versus Lakers.
Oof.
Rockets versus Lakers.
Okay, that's a W.
Lakers versus Pacers. And Lakers versus Pelicans. So if you scratch out that Raptors game, I think you got 8 games left where you're playing actual competitive teams.
Yeah, they're gonna have to play
The Nuggets, the Clippers, right? Like they did in the bubble. Like what they did, they played the Nuggets and the Clippers and I think, the Trailblazers was the first round, but they played the Nuggets and the Clippers pre-playoffs.
Interesting. So that's very interesting how it kind of mirrors last year. So it's almost like last year was just like a parallel, not a parallel universe. It was an alternate universe.
And guess what ended last year? A championship.
Oh, so you're saying we're winning? You heard it here, folks. So it's Zac Elk on Twitter. Just said it. Lakers are going to win.
Hey, you said that they're going to win if LeBron goes into the playoffs.
No, I mean, I'm always going to say the Lakers are going to win, unless they don't. Unless it's 3-1 and we're playing against the Clippers. I'm like, no, they're probably going to lose this one. But that will never happen.
Well, we will share a loss, depending on how most of you feel about LeBron James talking about police issues.
Oh, he opened his mouth on the internet again?
Again.
Oh, here we go.
So, as you know, there was shortly after the Derek Chauvin case was settled. Yeah. And rightfully so. He should have been found guilty.
There was enough evidence. I mean, it doesn't take a scientist.
There's about 9 minutes of it.
I can't believe people were even arguing against it. I'm like, yo, look at look.
And they want to say fentanyl. It's just okay, 9 minutes.
The guy had his knee on his neck,
100 pounds.
What other logical look? Just watch.
So this is again whatever you want to say. That we're not trying to turn this into political talk or whatever. But with LeBron James, he was obviously going in as his voice, using his pool, going can you believe this? Right? This is crazy.
Absolutely.
During that time, during the week, there was another shooting. What happened was a cop responded to the scene of where a teenager called for help. And so when the police officer showed, that same teenager then whipped out a knife and was about to stab a person, another teenager that was leaned up against the car. So the cop shot the teenager. Again, I'm not saying if it was the right decision. I'm not saying it's the wrong decision. All I'm saying is dude, that was a catch-22 from the start. If he didn't shoot her, then the girl would have stabbed that other girl.
And what sucks is that from what I read, those people that the person that she was going to stab was a person that was going to jump her. So she was in defense. So she had the knife and she was attacking those people out of defense. And the police show up. see what's the situation and just respond, which was a girl about to stab somebody else with a knife.
Yeah.
So the police really doing their job as far as, protecting citizens, I guess, if that's what you want to call it, opened fire and killed, the woman that actually called the police. So it's exactly what you said. It's a catch-22. It's an unfortunate, tragic incident that happened. But there's at the end of the day, it's just it is what it is. It's just a situation that shouldn't have happened, and it just did.
So the reason why you and I we could probably make our own decision about the case. It was whatever, but that's not the story. The story is LeBron James.
Yes.
And how he handled the situation. Because of the Siobhan case, he was all right, I'm
fired up.
I understand where he's coming from.
Cops.
Yeah. And so there's another shooting. What he does is he retweets the photo of the cop that shot the teenager and goes, "You're next." As if he's like Bill Goldberg from WWF.
Yeah.
You're next.
Yeah. It's your turn.
Hashtag accountability.
Yeah. But I'm like, hey, how about we figure it out what happened first before we
Yeah, and that's a whole react versus response
Yep.
type of ordeal. And then he shortly deleted the tweet, but then he doubled down with the tweets afterwards saying this is what
he deleted it though, right?
He deleted the initial tweet of the photo of the cop, and then he also he didn't say I'm sorry. I didn't expect him to say I'm sorry, but he did double down in his following tweet. Yeah,
he just said from what I remember he said something on the lines of I get angry or I get worked up. He kind of it's he apologized for him being angry, but he didn't actually apologize. He just said, sorry, I get angry kind of thing, from what I remember.
Right. And so when you're doing this, understand LeBron James's status, his platform, when you're going into this type of subject.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Look, you didn't do the right thing, but understand when you're stepping into this, you're going to get people from the opposite side that are going to be fired up and lash out at you. President Trump is not even on former President Trump is not on Twitter anymore, but that dude found a way to get a message onto a bird to deliver it so that way they can give it at the keynote CPAC event. Trump had a way on it, other people had a way on it, former cops or current cops. It's just a lot of people had their voice to share.
And I know there's an LAPD officer that took to Facebook, wrote a big long post about wanting to sit down and have a discussion with LeBron just to get his side.
Which is the civil approach of doing it. Yes.
Which is the great. If so many problems in this world would be resolved if everybody on both sides can just sit down and talk it out and figure something out. That's what you have siblings, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you.
I'm not talking to two of them, but okay.
yeah. All right, never mind. Bad example. LeBron, you're right. Accountability. Anyway. So this is really a discussion for Zach. Actually, I was sent by his
therapy session.
This is your therapy session. So why do you hate yourself? Why do you hate you and your family and eat bacon in front of them?
Because it's Ramadan.
But that's the thing to do. At least that's how I resolved my issues. I feel that's how society should. But I saw the comments or the thread on Twitter, and everyone there's some dumb ones. There's some stupid ones the cop just wants a selfie with LeBron or but to me it's okay, if we're really trying to figure something out here, trying to find a resolution, you want to talk to the other side. You can't distance yourself from them, or else the problem's still going to remain. And right now, it's I feel that LeBron should. So that way, maybe he can get an understanding, and so can a police officer can get an understanding of his side.
Mike,
may I play devil's advocate for a moment?
We actually saw that kind of dialogue happen before. Right when President Obama first took office way back in 2008, there was an incident, I believe Henry Louis Gates, he was a professor at Harvard, and he was accosted by a police officer outside his own house, and that kind of became a thing. Remember this? And so they organized the quote-unquote beer summit, where they had the officer and Mr. Gates and President Biden and President Obama and Vice President Biden at the time. They had this kind of photo ops, but to your point, a dialogue.
Yeah.
Where they got together and wanted to hash things out and talk things out. That was in 2008, and we're still seeing African Americans get shot the time.
All right. Well, here's the thing. Okay, this is me going off the NBA talk and going. You had Obama as a president for 8 years, and he wasn't able to pass anything about Ferguson. And then you had Trump, and granted, I'm not saying Trump could have passed something, but liberals did light a match under his butt to get something to happen with with police.
Hey, Obama liked basketball, okay?
And now you see it with Biden. Now Biden, with a blue Congress, a blue Senate, like it's possible to pass something to like reprimand police. Like, why is Colorado the only one that actually like got rid of qualified immunity for cops? That's something I think that should be across the board. Like, we should be able to sue police departments.
Absolutely.
If a cop acts out hastily.
Absolutely. I've always been about that. If you want real accountability, it should be for like the officer. Because to me, they're gonna think twice when they're gonna like. There's another footage that came out about LAPD officer pretty much being too aggressive with a woman that had schizophrenia. Like, he punched her, like she was trying to get up, and then like they tackled her down, and he sucker punched her like 4 quick times.
And then
jabs.
like that's when his other like cop mates
was
just,
like, hey,
yeah, which was dope by them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
That's
like
also, people have been talking about that, to put laws in the books that says if an officer witnesses another officer engaged in misconduct on the job, it behooves them. It's like you have to step in.
Yeah. But like there's that brotherhood thing. There's so many like unwritten quote unquote rules or laws, whatever you want to call it, amongst those group. Like, I always compare this, like the way how people are at work, you know, the inner cliques, the politics, that the same exact thing, you know, the rumors or whatever, it's going to happen the same in police departments and different, like everywhere else. So it's one of those things where it's like, good luck trying to like figure all that out. But you got to the only best way to do it is to kind of make sure, or kind of like have everyone interview for their jobs again, pretty much.
Yeah. And you know what? When you said LAPD, like there was even that video last year of the cop arresting the cholo, and then like as soon as he gets the cholo handcuffed, like the guy's hands are behind his back, he just goes pop, pop, pop. Doesn't know there's a camera recording him. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Like,
yes.
Like, how can Republicans defend this? How can Democrats like also? I just feel as if a lot of people don't realize that like there are stories on both sides. And we just need to find a resolution that comes in the middle.
I think the camera thing is a really good point. I mean, you and I both worked in radio, and you know, there's the old adage that all mics are hot all the time. Because you know, you don't want to be that guy that's caught in that hot mic. And so I think the police officers, you know, to realize that all cameras are on all the time. And so if they conduct themselves like they're being filmed all the time, surveillance state, like Foucault talked about, I think would be for the better.
Yeah. Here's another thing. I know Republicans are heaping onto this one, but like, New Mexico, there was a cop that got shot. The footage came out within like the last 2 weeks, but it sucks because the cop, you could tell, was just a nice dude.
Really?
He was a nice dude. He handled the situation right. He got the drug dealer out. He didn't know he was a drug dealer because he was like trying to get registration information.
You told me about this. I remember.
Yeah. He was trying to get information from him, and so he was like, well, you can come back to my SUV and we'll check it out. And the guy steps out the truck with a freaking AR-15. The cop doesn't see it's an assault rifle. He just sees a freaking large gun, and so he was like, hey, like, he was like, is that a gun? Do you mind like giving it to me so that way I can be safe for my safety?
Like if Ned Flanders was a police officer.
Exactly.
That sucks.
And then the guy just comes around the truck of his bed, or the bed of his truck, I'm sorry, and then like he just shoots him with his assault rifle.
It's once again, it's like things like that are going to happen. But
so you do have the PTSD of these cops, but then at the
Absolutely.
same time, you also have the bulliness effect of them. Yeah.
The first thing, like Sheriff's Department especially, LA County Sheriff's Department, because I actually know a couple of them, and LAPD, stop hiring bullies straight out of high school, because that's generally
Make them have
it.
college degrees.
Yes, make them like like I know most jobs out there, they require you to have a degree, but then they pay you like $15 an hour. Like require college degrees, require like some type of like even like psychoanalysis, make sure they're not crazy.